Many thanks for sticking around and welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. It's now time to review headlines on today's newspapers. With us is Ombudsman of This Day and Arise Media Group and This Day Newspaper Limited's Group Executive Director, Kayode Komolafe. Welcome to the show, KK.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Good
KK.
morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Sunday Tonic.
Sunday Tonic program.
All right, we'll start as always with This Day on Sunday, and the cover is very loaded, quite loaded today, KK. The lead story says Buhari sends electoral bill to INEC, Attorney General for legal opinion. New law, if signed, may only benefit to 2027 off-season electoral processes for APC, PDP. As other parties forge ahead. PDP begins primaries today. So I'm sure that this is something that will interest, lots of our viewers, because there's been back and forth as to what is really happening, which delegates will vote, who will not vote, as the president signed or not. Other stories on top of the lead story: APC to reconcile aggrieved presidential aspirants, others after primaries. That's a story we'll find on page 12 of the paper. And above the masthead, Bauchi governor reads riot act as violence erupts over alleged blasphemy. And then on the window, no plan to withdraw Naira notes from circulation, CBN clarifies. Nigeria and others to benefit from AFDB's $1.5 billion Africa's Food Facility. And last but not the least is a story that will be found on page 12 of This Day. Kano Police Command intercepts vehicle loaded with explosive devices. Those are the stories on today's cover of This Day, KK, for your kind analysis.
Yeah, the lead story of This Day today, typifies the story of the season, the season of politics. And this week is going to be a week of primaries and preparation for primaries. Now, at the weekend, there was this confusion, as to whether the president signed the Electoral Amendment Bill, that is to correct the mistake made in Section 84, subsection Section 8 of the 84(8), of the Electoral Amendment Bill of 2022. But as this day has now clarified, and the story is very important, because it will many people will actually get the information as to what the true situation is, and that is that the president is yet to sign, the amendment bill. And the report, according to the report, the president is seeking advice from the Attorney General of the Federation, as well as the Independent National Electoral Commission,
That's right.
INEC. Now, the hesitation of the president in signing the amendment bill has huge implications, for all the parties, not just the president's own party. Already the impact, the implication will actually be tested even today, as the PDP begins its own primaries for the House of Assembly and the House of the nomination of candidates, for the election to the House of Assembly, as well as the House of Representatives. Now, a source was quoted in the story as saying that while the National Assembly was trying to punish, the political appointees, that the members of the National Assembly, they ended up excluding themselves, because they are supposed to be within the category they call the super delegates.
Yes.
That is those who are, statutory members. And I think opinions are divided as to that even if the president signs the electoral bill, that it might no more, be effective, for the primaries, that perhaps it will only be applicable for the 2027 election, or maybe the off-season elections that might come up before 2027. So, like I said, the implication is huge, and that means that the president himself, the vice president, the members of the National Assembly will not be a delegate. But on a deeper level, if you ponder it, is it not more democratic, even though by default,
Yeah.
Because I mean, to be a delegate, I mean, is those people, I believe that it's those people who actually, went for the election to be elected to get the mandate of their people, But not just that, because you are a political appointee, because you're already in the office, then that gives you, the automatic. Who says your people actually wish that you should, represent them, and especially when you also look at it from this way, that, for instance, if you are talking of the governorship election, imagine a governor who is seeking a second term, okay, the fact that have been seeking the party ticket for a second term, the same governor, has made some appointments. So all his, some of his appointees become automatic delegates, to the state election, or maybe a president. Maybe to be more clear, a president who is seeking the party ticket for a second term. Now, some of the appointees, the ministers, of the president, maybe special advisors and the rest, and I mean, they are categorized as automatic delegates. I mean, that gives, the incumbent, some advantage, and that to me, makes the whole process, less democratic, So I think that, even though it is agreed, by both sides that it's a mistake, that perhaps by default, the democratic process might have been deepened, although I guess this may not be a popular position with the politicians, But I think that is the situation. So if as we see, if the hesitation of the president, ends up, making the amendments to be of no effect to this particular election, I think it's going to have a huge impact on what goes, And don't forget the joke of the Kaduna State Governor, El-Rufai, when he was addressing, I think it was one of the aspirants, I think it was Minister Amici, got there. He said that, well, the other time when Ashwaji Ahmed Tinubu was there, I introduced him to you, you endorsed him. Now you have Rotimi Amici, also before you. And he prefaced by saying that people say that delegates will not make heaven. This is a season, for delegates, to be lobbied by all the aspirants. So I think the failure to sign this, has also put them, in a very good stand. So I think to be a delegate is a big thing,
You're right, because if you look at yesterday's, this day, the cover of this day, the lead story was about the fact that delegates, were complaining about not having enough largesse go round, because that's the season, So this will further compound their woes, if the president, decides not to honor, the request to sign. But it looks to me like PDP has already moved on, and it looks like the number will be a lot more manageable. Less than 900 for PDP and barely 2,000 plus for APC if they go ahead with this one. So it looks like a tighter management of of the process.
The parties will have to do with the reality.
Right. The PDP are saying that only the elected delegates are going to be allowed to vote. That is the 3 ad hoc delegates per ward, as well as 1 national delegate per local government. So they're already forging ahead.
So the delegates are the beautiful brides of the season. All aspirants will have to lobby them. Now, the story, from Bauchi, I think is a very important one, especially that today the Christianization of Nigeria, is planning a nationwide protest, and what I think should also be emphasized that the ECAN is saying that the protest will not be on the streets, because there's also a threat that one Islamic group, has also threatened to also stage a protest, that. So it's a good thing that ECAN is limiting the protests, to the premises, of their state secretariats, and in states where you don't have a CAN secretariat, that it should be held within the premises of a church that can accommodate it. So I think that caution, I think is a very commendable one, you know, because you can imagine if you have a clash, you know, of Christian protesters and Muslim protesters, you know, on the street. Okay. But while we are still smarting from, you know, the incident in Sokoto with the killing of Deborah and the protest that followed, over the weekend again, there was another incident in Bauchi, you know, where another lady, you know, was accused, you know, Rhoda Jatau, you know, was accused of blasphemy. And before you could say Jack Robinson, as they say, you know, about 6 houses, you know, were raised down, and she had to be, you know, spirited out, you know, of the vicinity, you know. The good thing in this particular one is that Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, you know, rose to the occasion, actually went to the area, Walji area of the state, you know, to read the Riot Act, you know, and to calm frayed nerves, you know, and warned, you know, those who were bent on taking laws into their hand. So I think at this period, you know, the state governors, as the chief security officers of their respective states, you know, should really be alert, you know, that you have, it's like it's becoming a contagion, you know, this accusation of blasphemy, and the next thing you have is, you know, jungle justice, you know. I think the security agencies and the state governors, you know, especially in the north, you know, should really be alert, you know, to ensure that you don't have a degeneration. So it's a good thing that that of Bauchi, you know, is being, I mean, that action is being taken, you know, to avoid, you know, an escalation, you know, of violence, you know, in the area.
Okay, should we take This Day Style, Abby?
Okay, yeah, let's take This Day Style, where it's a very dazzling cover, the very recent African Magic Viewers' Choice Awards, which of course has had like a 2-year hiatus just because of COVID. Yeah. So of course this is a very this is quite a spread on its own, but this is an event that a lot of designers look forward to because they get to showcase their work apart from, you know, what it stands for, celebrating excellence in film, television, entertainment industry across Africa, which I believe that MultiChoice has, you know, done quite well in the times in presenting it.
Indeed, they've done quite well. Largely it's a Viewer's Choice Award, but of course the razzmatazz, as you said, is in the fashion statements, you know, that is made on, you know, on the runway, you know, in the hall, etc. I've attended practically all the AMVCAs, but nothing in terms of fashion statement compares to the one that we had last Saturday. I mean, a lady sat beside me, and she was like a ninja, all covered up. Yeah. You know, totally, you saw the picture.
Saw that picture.
And I'm like, you know, but she didn't, she left like after 20 minutes, left the seat where I sat, and I was like, is this lady breathing? You know, because I've never seen anything like that before. They really came in with like lights and everything, and you're like, wow, what's going on here? But again, this underscores where Nigeria is in terms of entertainment, and that our celebrities can compete, you know, and can showcase what designers are bringing out on a daily basis, you know. Right. I mean, you almost think that it was these days a right style in Dubai, where Jinx, of course, herself, you know, strutted the runway.
Yes. So that edition, those people on the cover were the best dressed on the red carpet. We had Osasi Godara there. We have Denola Gray. We also have, what is her name, Erica? Is that Erica? Yes.
The Big Brother lady.
The Big Brother lady. And they did absolutely amazing. Osas also won the best actress.
And the best actress.
And best actress award. Now that lady you were talking about, her name is Simi Dre. She's a radio personality, and she kind of embodied that Kim Kardashian look.
Who designed that thing?
I'm not sure who designed her look, but I mean, she did make a statement, and it just goes to show that you can really find fashion if you want to in Nigeria. But, you know, a lot of people were on her, you know, story and pictures, and they, you know, they were a lot of different comments, but they did very well.
But if our face couldn't be seen, who would know?
I guess that was the point of it all. It's a statement,
So it's like a go be careful, like a masquerade kind of a thing.
It's called fashion.
Yes.
Oh.
Express yourself in different ways. Yeah. But of course, we can't lose the meaning of what the platform itself stands for, which is excellence in film, entertainment, and television. There's so much to speak to about the growth of this industry in Africa. Funding-wise, in terms of talent, in terms of are we competitive on a global scale. So, well, I mean, we're just going to have to keep looking out to see what happens every year.
It's a beautiful show, you know, and it also marked the return in recent times of the masked man himself, Lagbaja, you know, who had a duet with, which of the younger artists, was it Omale or something?
Well, I did not attend. Thanks for the invitation.
Yes, Steve, now you just tell us about it.
Apologies, but it was a beautiful night.
I'm sure you did.
It was a beautiful night.
I saw it. Shaita did a wonderful package on it. It was beautiful.
That's right.
Yeah, congratulations again.
And by the way, is the cover story is not just only about the best the verdict of the author of the cover story could be very interesting, although based on his own subjective opinion. The best dress and also some misses,
hits and misses.
Misses, you know,
hits and misses
very
as well,
you know, the verdict,
these were all hits on the cover. I don't think
they were the hits because they all won.
But inside,
he won the best.
So maybe the misses are inside.
Yeah, the misses are inside. These are all the for sure.
And the verdict on each of them very, very interesting. But I guess it
okay, so
of course it's subjective.
It is subjective. We have to remember that.
Yeah, art generally.
Yeah, one man's expression.
I always love these hits and misses shows where Joan Rivers was, you know, the pioneer of that. You remember
That's
those?
True.
I would love to see one again on this show. So shall we take a break?
Yeah, we'll go on a short break before we come back to another newspaper. So don't go away. Do stay with us. We'll be right back. You're welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. We're back, of course, with the newspaper review. And OJ, which paper do we have next?
I think we'll go with the Sunday Punch.
Okay.
Packed newspaper headlines here. We'll start with the lead story, which is APC aspirants may opt for consensus as Buhari meets Osibajo, Tinubu, Amechi, and others. We are ready for any method, says VP, ex-Rivers Governor Bello and others. Tambowal, Saraki, others in last-minute deal with delegates. Buhari's refusal to sign amended Electoral Act, ambush ahead of primaries. Then there's another story below that lead story there. And this is from Bode George, who says, Tinubu, Osibajo should tell Nigerians how Alpha Beta was funded. Bode George is not dropping this story at all. We have heard this. But then Tinubu's campaign spokesperson, Onanuga, said that Bode George is a perpetual political failure who is diminished by Tinubu and rejected by Lagosians. Well, another story there. Manufacturers lament forest scarcity as politicians buy dollars for primaries. The writer there. Politicians mopping up dollars, says BDC operators. I don't know how that's going to, affect the economy and the dollars at this point, because this is the story out there. The politicians are hoarding the dollars as we speak. So maybe we can talk about that, Mr. Komolafe. Another story there, above the masthead, PDP, APC presidential tickets between heavy, middle, and featherweights. There are pictures there of Osibajo, Tinubu, Rotimi Amechi, Bayaya Bello, and Ahmed Lawan. Then Wole Soyinka speaks up on Deborah's killing. He says he's calling for national mosque imams sacking, while El Rufai's wife condemns killing as well. Then the window story, besides the lead story, this is from Pastor Kumuyi, who says he has cancelled his Southeast crusade, cites security challenges and threat from the indigenous people of Biafra. And then another story there, Nigerians shouldn't vote for politicians whose children school abroad, says ASU President Ose Deke. Those are the stories.
Quickly, First, the lead story of Punch, about problems with consensus. I think it seems very unrealistic. I mean, at this point, APC has elected to conduct its primaries based on what they call the indirect method. That is, to be done by delegates on behalf of others. Since they have options of three, direct primaries, indirect primaries, and as well as consensus. So I think, given the fact that issues have sufficiently crystallized within the party, at this stage, I think it's just inconceivable that you could have a consensus candidate. But then, this is the season of political speculations, So I think we are going to have more of it, in the coming days. But two other stories on the front page of Punch, that is the cancellation of the crusade, to be held by Pastor Kumuyi, as well as the comment of Professor Shoyinka, because right now, while we are dealing with violence, of gunmen, terrorists, bandits, kidnappers, the other threat now is by, caused by, religious extremism, people who, take laws into their hand, I think the comment of President Shoyinka should be put in this context, and that is that it is important at this point that leaders of faith, of all faiths, not just only Islam, should, be conscious of the fact that what they say, could have very serious security implications, since in some cases their followers, just take whatever they say, hook, line, and a sinker, and they go not just only absorbing it, but they act, based on it. So that is why, preachers, leaders of faith, should avoid, reckless statements, especially at this very tense period, And I think that is the allegation of President Shoyinka against the chief imam of National Mosque, who, by the way, is a professor, that will have any, But I think the point really is not whether he's sacked or not, but that it is important that you be cautioned, and people should also, be responsible, in whatever comments they make, because it could have very serious implications. Right. So while we say that on one hand, on the other hand, we should commend Pastor Kumuyi, for the maturity of purpose,
yes.
Because whereas the threat in Sokoto, in Bauchi, in Kaduna, as we have been reported, from Islamic, groups, who are taking actions for those who they have accused of blasphemy. But in the case of the East, allegedly by members of IPOB, threatening, Pastor Kumuyi, of Deeper Faith Ministry, that he should not, stage the crusade, And I think it's commendable on the part of the pastor, for obvious security implications, of it, to have cancelled it, But more importantly is that religious leaders at this period should be conscious, of their place in society as leaders, and that they are also responsible, for security, and that should inform what they say or what they do not say, to their respective congregations.
All right, KK, we have just 2 minutes, barely 2 minutes to go, and just two interesting stories that I think we should quickly touch on the cover of Sunday Vanguard. The lead says 7 days to APC primary. Tinubu men weigh Plan B, North queues behind Lawan. Aspirants make last-minute push for delegates. And then there's a story about yesterday's rain, downpour, 2 dead in fresh Lagos building collapse. Flood wreaks havoc. Yet another building collapse on the Lagos mainland. I mean, a lot of people have said that can't Isaleko and Lagos Island be regenerated? Yes, that is the heart of Lagos, but then we know what's going on there. It's not likely that you can salvage it in the manner that the buildings are at the moment. Can there not be a kind of regeneration? Relocate people, turn it, Isaleko and Lagos Island into a mini Dubai kind of a thing in the heart of Lagos with skyscrapers. over time. Is it doable? Otherwise, are we going to continue to deal with this sort of building collapse on a daily, monthly, weekly, yearly basis, KK?
Absolutely. You know, what the situation in Salekuru is a total transformation, structural transformation. If you like, a town planning revolution, honestly, as it is, because you are talking of structures that have been perhaps put in place, not just the case, even for over a century, some of them,
Yeah.
So I think it should be a wake-up call to the Lagos State government that perhaps, a deeper look, like you just said, should be taken into it, and to have a town planning revolution, in that part of Lagos, which is actually the heart, of Lagos, as it were.
I
agree with you.
I'm thinking that you touch on the plan B, the possible plan B for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but it doesn't look like.
Again, I take it that we're in the season of political speculation, because the truth of it is that Asiwaju Tinubu is on the field.
Absolutely.
It's on the field. Absolutely. And the pillars on the field does not suggest of somebody who is thinking of
quitting.
So you don't quit a house that you build for anybody.
And I think that he's succeeding in silencing those who are questioning his health and everything, because his movement all over the country shows
it's going everywhere. I take it to be just a sheer political speculation, and which is welcome in this season,
All right.
And if you like it, it's legitimate.
Thank you so much, KK, for yet another brilliant Sunday Tonic. Jinx,
thank you so much. Yes,
everybody.
Thank you so much.
And that brings us to the end of the morning show today. Thank you for watching, and do stay safe. I'm Steve Ayoride.
I'm Abby Owolawi.
And I'm Ojiokwe from our entire team here in Lagos, Nigeria. Enjoy the rest of your morning and, of course, the rest of your day. Goodbye.